You can smell the money. So I do think Johnny is going to behave, but I wouldn't put it past him to misbehave. Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. Hello if you're new. So today's episode is going to be a review of Love Island USA Season 2, Episode 26. I hope everybody is doing as well as can be, and I really do hope everybody is being as proactive as possible in supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. And if you're still on the lookout for some resources, I've linked some in the description. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on my commentary. I'm always up for a chat, I'm always up for a debate. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. No hard feelings. So, episode 26. I feel like there was a significant amount of drama this episode. Some juicy, some dehydrated. But let's just talk about it. Let's talk about it. So, the recoupling is continued. The edit was a little bit dodgy because obviously when we left off on the last episode, it was supposedly Moira's pick, but then we kind of are now at Selly. I think that was a bit of trickery from the producers. It's just a bit cheeky from them, to be honest. But it was a bit jarring because I was like, who's Moira picked? Have I missed something? Is my link dodgy? You know, I have to watch it on the link, guys. Don't judge me. I was like, what? But obviously the producers have decided, obviously yesterday was going to be a bit of a cheeky edit. So it's actually Selly who was next. And coming into this episode, I kind of had already had this feeling that she was going to take the trash back, and I was just like, ugh. let me just see, but I had the feeling she was going to take him back. So then she's talking about, you know, a lot has gone on this past week. Then she's talking about, but it's made her grow up, and I was like, okay, she's taking back the trash. I can hear bin bags rustling. She's ready to take another one out the cupboard and lay it down next to her in the bed. So I was like, okay, she's taking the trash back. And then she's talking about how she's excited for them to get out in the real world. I was like, okay, it's 100% she's picking the trash. And you could just see the trash is just up there smiling so wide because he's like, yeah, I've been picked. My mission has been successful. And at this point, I was just over it at this point. I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I'm just over at this point. Like, I wanted it better for Selly, but if this is what she wants for herself, I've just got to accept that, to be honest. So obviously she picks the trash. Benny is upset, and I was just kind of I've been a bit disappointed in Benny as well because he's just been a bit too laid back. I don't necessarily think he should have gone in there and been like, I am the perfect guy for you. Don't pick Johnny, he's trash. But I think there should have been a bit more making breakfast, a bit more conversational, a bit less of a crutch of, oh, feel however you're feeling, I hope you're all right. Maybe just talk to her like she's a normal person and stop being like stepping around eggshells around her. Show her that you are somebody that she could see herself being with rather than just somebody who's getting in the way of her relationship. So personally, I was a bit disappointed with Benny's conduct, to be honest. I think he definitely could have played a better game. Then we get Kirsten, and she picks Bennett, and you could just see Calvin looks a bit annoyed. I feel like Calvin did see it coming, but it's one of those ones where it's like, wow, I've fully been ditched. Calvin. I feel bad for Calvin. Because I feel like he's a nice guy. I don't understand why he just keeps getting flung to the side. But yeah, poor Calvin. And you could tell in his mind he's just thinking, oh shit, like the options are just getting less and less and less. But I think Kirsten should have been near the end because I was anticipating Laurel potentially picking Calvin, and then it would have forced Kirsten perhaps to pick between Bennett and Carrington. I kind of wanted that situation to happen. So I was a bit disappointed that she was put so early on. But anyway, it wouldn't have worked out that way anyway. But I was just thinking it could be a possibility. Then we get Laurel, and she's saying her speech. And she's saying her speech is a bit ambiguous. And Carrington and Calvin are both kind of smiling. Or that's what the edit has made it seem. And then she's just saying, you know, after one conversation, she felt like she knew him so well, or something along those lines. And Calvin is smiling, but then we see an edit that Carrington is smiling as well. So I was just like, what's going on? What's going on? Is she gonna ditch Carrington or not? Like, what's going on? So initially I was thinking Calvin, but then I was like, you know what? I don't think Laurel has it in her. I think she was thinking about it, but I don't think she has it in her. And obviously she did pick Carrington. She stuck with him. And you can just see Calvin is disappointed. And now he's getting nervous because now he's only really got one option left, and he's just like, oh shit, I've been ditched again. But yeah, I think Laura was just a bit too shook. She didn't want to do it. I think she knows what it's going to look like if she ditches Carrington, and she doesn't want to look like a massive game player. I personally think it would be better for her game to ditch Carrington, but I'm not really sure. I feel like Carrington is the drama king. He is Regina George of the house, but he's also a staple character. So I don't really know if people don't like Laurel and him together because they are a boring couple, or whether they don't like Carrington because he's one of those people that, I don't know, he's entertainment, just like Johnny. I think Johnny is absolute trash, but he's been providing the entertainment, he's been providing the mess, and so has Carrington. So even though they are annoying, I feel like we kind of still need them both in the house, really and truly. But I'm not sure. I do kind of want Johnny to go, but he has been providing the entertainment. So I'm a bit conflicted on that, to be honest. I just don't want him and Sally together, but I mean, what's done is done. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Do you think, why did Carrington and Laurel end up in the bottom? Is it because they were a boring couple? Was it because people wanted revenge for how he did Kirsten dirty? Or do they just not like Carrington? What do you think it is? And why do you think Laurel decided to pick Carrington? Is it because she generally likes Carrington more? Or is it because she didn't want to look like a game player? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. So then, now, the last pick is Moira. She has to pick between Calvin, Connor, and Benny. And now we kind of know why she's crying. She's crying because, yeah, obviously she has to send somebody home. And what I noticed is that Noah is just like fully gone. He's not there. So I'm guessing he's been kicked out. It's just been very vague. Like, they just literally didn't even notice it. So I'm just kind of thinking, what did he get kicked out for? Obviously, there's been some information brought to light about what kind of healthcare service he's been providing. A very interesting type of healthcare or exercise or whatever. But I don't think that is the reason why. I don't think that is the reason why. So I'm just thinking maybe it's about what he actually did in the house. And he was a little bit of a creepy, a little bit of a creeper, staring at Kirsten's boobs. So I'm kind of thinking, was there some sort of misconduct there? That kind of area of misconduct? That's what I'm kind of thinking. But it's just very vague right now. And they just haven't really addressed it at all. I don't even think they've put out a statement saying, well, Noah has been removed from the house because of this reason. It's kind of just, they just chucked him out and they were like, no one really cares about him. So we're just not going to put out a statement. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. What do you think it was? And have you heard any rumors? Have you heard any tea about why he has been kicked out? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. So obviously Moira's quite emotional. She's a very emotional person, so this doesn't really surprise me. And she's kind of talking about how this is a difficult decision for her because, everybody standing up there deserves to be there. And then she's talking about how, she has to make her decision based on, who deserves it, who's going to be here for love, basically. And when she said that, I kind of knew she was going to pick Calvin, and she was going to be sending Connor home. Obviously, she doesn't really have any sort of loyalty towards Benny. He just got here. And, of course, she does pick Calvin. And, Calvin is relieved. And you know what? I got to respect Calvin because Calvin has been putting in work. He's the cockroach that will never die. He's been putting in work. So I have to respect Calvin's hustle and how he's managed to stay in here. I've got to respect it. I'm very surprised about how far he's managed to get himself. I get the text and it's official that it is going to be a dumping and Connor and Benny have been dumped. And honestly, it's just, I'm over it. Like I said, I promise I'm over it. But it's just like Johnny. It's just unfair. Johnny gets Sally, and then he gets to see his competition go home. It's unfair. It's unfair, and it just feels like one big fix. It just feels like one big fix, and it's unfair. It is just unfair. But yeah, I feel like there definitely is some plotting going on. I've heard some whispers, people saying they're setting up Sally to win, and I think they kind of are because, like I said, I've seen a lot of Johnny is trash tweets. I think people really don't like him. Some people don't like him, but they kind of are living for the drama. I'm kind of like in between that. I don't like him, I want him out, but then I also like the mess and the drama he brings. But, I've had one or two comments from people defending Johnny, basically saying he deserves a second chance, and some people saying that, it just makes sense for them to be together in this stage of the game. I still feel like Sally could win without him, but I think this was the chance to do it. I haven't watched every single season of Love Island in the UK, but from all the seasons that I have watched, when things like this happen and somebody has cheated at Castor or More, generally they come back with the person that they cheated with, and that is the game that they continue with. I haven't seen a situation on Love Island where the person cheats, comes back, the person takes them back, because I do think this was a cheating thing going on, because I've had a couple comments saying they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, they're not married, so, it's not that big of a deal. But like I've been saying, Johnny was the one who opened his lips to say, I'm making a commitment to you. I'm all in. He was the one who opened his lips to reassure Sally that every time a new girl came in, he wasn't interested in her. He's all about her. If it was a thing where he hadn't made those commitments, then what he did at Casa Amor would have been fair game. But the fact that he didn't is trifling. And then also, he's done his dirt. He's come back and he's trying to downplay it. He's trying to dismiss Sally's feeling and make her feel like she's crazy for feeling upset and feeling like he's gone back on his word on her. And then in the confessional, he's talking about how basically he hasn't done anything wrong. So for me, it's trifling. It is. I feel like it is in the cheating area because, like I said, he was the one who made the commitment. He went back on that commitment, and he made himself appear that he was this committed guy. Yes, it is on paper. It's stupid to expect commitment from somebody who isn't your boyfriend. It is stupid, but this is, in a game show setting, and the Love Island setting is, it is a monogamous setting. It is. So I feel like Johnny was trifling. So I feel like he definitely did something wrong, and he didn't rectify the situation. He did the bare minimum at rectifying and even now, I feel like he's only really apologizing now that he's safe. Like, this is the first time I've seen him generally apologize for what he did. And even now, I don't even think it's genuine. I just think it's for show. But that's just my piece on it. But obviously, what was I even saying? I've gone on a rant now. What was I saying? Oh yeah, my point was that I haven't seen this before, where the cheater has been actually come back by himself, been taken back, and I haven't seen this happen before. So I don't know if this relationship could be viable to take the crown, because even though the timeline just seems to be J-Lub, every time I go on the hashtag, it's J-Lub. But when you look at the numbers, I mean, Justine and Caleb are on what, 50k a piece on Instagram. If we're just going by Instagram numbers, they're on 50k a piece on Instagram. Sally, I haven't checked it recently. That was the last time I checked it. Sally is over 100k now. How much is Johnny on? Johnny, I think, is around 50 as well. Let me check right now. Alright, so Justine is on 60k followers on Instagram. Sally is on 116,000k on Instagram. Let's see, Caleb. Right, Johnny Johnny is on 217k on Instagram. So he even has more followers than Selly. And Caleb is on 55k. So if we're just taking it at numbers value, Jaleb and Jelly has double the amount of following than Jaleb. So if we're taking that just based on Instagram numbers, Jelly has more support. So therefore, they could fully challenge Jaleb for the crown. They could do it because obviously there's a lot of people that don't like them together, but there is a lot of people that do. And just based off of the numbers, I think it's naive to just think Jaleb is obviously on paper the best couple, so they're going to win. I think Jelly can challenge Jaleb. I do think that they can. So I think there has to be some strategizing. I think it's going to be very telling, perhaps. So I think there definitely needs to be some strategizing, but I just feel like it could be a little bit of a setup. I think. But there is definitely some hot competition. Jaleb stands. You need to be strategizing because it's not going to be a clear win. I don't think so. I think Jelly is a clear challenge for Jaleb, in my opinion. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Do you think Jelly could snatch the crown from Jaleb or not? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. And can we rely on Instagram numbers? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Basically, Connor is now declaring himself to Mackenzie and he wants that old thing back. They have this little cheesy segment where he FaceTimes Mackenzie and Mackenzie's like, yeah, let's give it another go. Which is clearly like overproduced. Benny, his like exit interview, he's keeping it cute. He's saying that he wishes Selly and Johnny the best. And obviously, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because it's just like, I feel like him being there was just useless because he didn't bring any mess whatsoever. So, yeah, I'm just a bit disappointed, to be honest. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Do you feel like Benny did the best that he could? Or do you feel like now with the result, maybe he should have done things a different way? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. So then after the recoupling, we see Kirsten and Bennett having a talk. Kirsten is talking about how they have such a connection. I personally do not see this connection. And then Bennett name drops his ex, Summer Rae. I've heard of her name. I think she's like an influencer of some sort. But he name drops her. And I just feel like name dropping is just a bit tacky. And also bringing up your ex is just a bit tacky, especially this early on in the relationship. I don't know if that was the producers telling him to just name drop the relationship, but I just feel like if I'm talking to somebody and they're telling me, oh, like in the beginning sessions, they're like, oh, I dated this celebrity, like I'm just gonna be like, and like, what is this information gonna do for me, babe? So yeah, I just feel like it's just a bit tacky. But he was talking about how he met her being a waiter, and that's how they got into their relationship, which I thought was quite interesting because I ain't gonna lie, I would have thought that an influencer would be not checking for a waiter, but you know, each to your own. And then we see Moira trying to pursue Bennett, and she's asking the girls for help, but the help that these girls are giving is just so useless. Like, she's trying to sit down and then suddenly Kirsten appears and it was just a mess. But she ends up pulling him for a chat later on, and it's successful. She kind of lays it on him. Bennett says that he's interested, so I'm kind of thinking in the back of his mind he's still kind of thinking it's not really secure with this relationship because, like I said, you can see there's not really any chemistry there. Bennett probably sees there's no chemistry there, so he's just trying to keep his options open. You know how Kirsten is. She says that she's got a connection with one guy, then a new guy comes in and she's like, so I'm kind of feeling more of a friend thing, you know, and I kind of want to pursue this new guy. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that Bennett is kind of considering plan Bs. And then all of a sudden, Calvin tries to put it on Moira, but Moira said that she's kind of interested in Bennett. And poor Calvin, he's out here just trying to secure a spot on the show. And he's just like, oh, well, that's fine and everything, but just know that I'm still here for you. And honestly, I've been saying that Calvin needs to be a bit more aggressive, but maybe this just know that I'm here for you is actually working for him. Oh, Calvin, Calvin, Calvin. Then we see, obviously, still on the kind of night on the recoupling, a bit of a rewind. We see Sally and Johnny talk, and honestly, I just didn't even want to see them on my screen. Like, I'm sick of them. I'm sick of the clownery. But yeah, and then also they both start crying, yeah. And I think obviously Sally, she's a crier. Doesn't surprise me. But when Johnny started crying, I was like, boy, if you don't wipe them fake ass tears, like it was just so forced. Like he was proper like trying to force these tears out of his face. And I'm kind of thinking he's definitely not crying because Sally took him back. If he is generally crying, he's probably crying because he's happy that he didn't get sent home. Because if Sally didn't pick him, his ass would have been sent home. So that's why he's crying, because he's happy to be in the house, and he's happy that his mission has been successful as well. And then they both basically say that they're falling for each other. And like I said, I'm over this couple. At this point, I really don't care. I feel like Sally, you fell for the clownery. I really don't care what happens to her now. I feel like she's made her bed. I don't really mind if she gets evicted with Johnny and their collateral. But I think I'm not sure what else this relationship could offer us. Unless Johnny is tempted by these new girls, I feel like I'm not really sure what else this relationship is really going to be offering us, to be honest. So I feel like I wouldn't mind Sally being collateral at this point. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Like I said, is anyone kind of just over this coupling, or does anyone like support this coupling? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. But yeah, I cannot support. So we also see a J-Lo conversation about, possible vulnerabilities that they can work through. And it seems like a very serious, mature, grown up conversation. I have been getting a lot of comments about the limited screen time that they're getting. And I do think that they're getting limited amount of screen time compared to what we're seeing of Sally, even Moira, Carrington, and Laurel. I feel like we definitely do need a lot more J-Lib screen time. But like I said, I feel like maybe there is a little bit of a jelly agenda going on. I feel like there is. So then we have the challenge, which is the heart rate challenge, which is one of my favorite challenges because it can be very telling about, relationships. It's a sticky one. I feel like, because in Love Island, I feel like attraction and chemistry, sexual chemistry, is quite important in Love Island, to be honest. And possibly maybe in real life about, attraction. But then it's like, it's a sticky one when it becomes about who you're most attracted to. Obviously, heart rate is heart rate. There is a link there, but it's not necessarily just because my heart rate has gone up the highest for you, I'm the most attracted to you. But it's an indication, isn't it? And obviously, if you're in there with a house with somebody and somebody's saying you're the beautifulest girl in the house, you're the sexiest person in the house, you would like to think that you would raise their heart rate the most. So I think it could definitely be a bit messy with relationships. But I'm going to talk about whose heart rate I'm kind of interested in seeing after I kind of talk about the dancers that we see. So obviously, it's a kind of striptease challenge. They got the pole this time. In the UK, they don't have a pole. In the US, they're giving them a pole, I see. Obviously, I knew the new girls were coming, and I knew they were going to drop them in the challenge. That's what they did in the latest UK version, so I kind of thought they were going to copy that. But what's quite interesting is that they can actually see their heart rates this time. I don't think in the UK version you can actually check your heart rate. You kind of just find out at the end who raised yours the most. But they could actually check their heart rates, which I thought was quite interesting. So I'd be interested to hear from people who have watched other versions where they weren't allowed to check their heart rate. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like they should have just revealed it at the end? Or do you feel like perhaps maybe that should be implemented, that they can actually check their heart rates? But yeah, this was a really fun challenge. I really enjoyed this challenge. But let's talk about the dances. So first up, we had the boys. We had Caleb. Caleb was a little bit stiff. He was having fun with it, but he was a little bit stiff. Um, Bennett, he kicks the door open like he's coming in like Magic Mike. But I was disappointed because he was stiff as well. But I was just kind of like, don't be coming in here like you're Magic Mike and be stiff up in here. I just think it's a bit cheeky. Um, then we have Carrington. And Carrington, okay, he's working the pole, his waist, you know, he's got that water waist. He is moving and grooving and grinding, yes. I don't know whether he's had experience, you know, as a little side hustle, but yes, I was pleasantly surprised with Carrington. He can move that waist, yes. Was anybody else intrigued by that? No? Just me? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Then we have Calvin, and Calvin was a bit of a surprise as well. He brought that country flair to it. He had the cowboy hat. He was tying people up. He was dropping it low. He had them strong thrusts, and I was like, this is just, you know, a little bit too professional for me. I feel like Calvin has some experience as well. I feel like Calvin had done this as a side hustle because he was really giving an experience. I was like, wow, this is like something that people would pay to see. So yes, okay, Calvin, I see you, Calvin. Ooh. What did you guys think of Calvin's performance? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. So then we have Johnny, and he's coming up. He is oiled to the nines, Shadow. He's got that extra oil on him. He's dancing very sensual on the pole. He's picking people up. You know, he's showing people a good time. And I was just like, ooh, I wonder, I'm pretty sure that he showed Mercedes a good time. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. What did you guys think of Johnny's performance? I'd be interested to hear from you guys. That was very interesting. But I was just kind of thinking, imagine if Benny stayed and he like really performed and lifted Sally's heart rate. So yeah. That's a bit of a shame. And then we have the girls. Obviously, I knew they were going to insert the new girls at the end, but I was kind of just thinking how they were going to do it. But I'll talk about that a bit later. So first we have Kirsten. And, you know, she perhaps... It's very clear that she is not a mover and a groover, but she knows how to move her body in a way that is sensual and to work with what she has. And she knows how to give people that look. And yeah, she gave a very satisfying performance with the skills that she has. So I was very impressed. You could tell that Carrington was enjoying. She was giving Carrington the eye. You can tell she put a little effort into Carrington's performance. So that was quite interesting. I think Carrington was definitely enjoying that, maybe more than he should. And I think perhaps maybe she will be the person who lifted Carrington's heart rate the most. Then we have Laurel, and she's having fun, and it's cute, but it's not really sexy in my opinion. So I kind of feel like she's definitely not going to be lifting anyone's heart rate the most. Then we have Moira, and she's having fun. She's cute. I'm not sure she'll lift anyone's heart rate the highest, but you know, she did what she came to do. She was working with her skills. So yeah, I respect the performance. Then we have Justine. She came, she performed, she was very slow, she was very sensual, she was giving us a little sample of what she gets up to in the go-go dancing sector. And I love the performance, but I'm not going to lie to you guys. You know, she's half Congolese, as the Congolese girl. I was a bit disappointed that there was no waist movements because Congolese people were known for the water waistline. So I was hoping she was gonna, highlight the waist, but there was no waist. I was just like, wappy the waist, shawty, wappy yango. So I was a little bit disappointed that she didn't rep for the Congolese water waist gang. She came and did what she needed to do. She performed. And yeah, she looked cute. I loved the little reveal and she was like, let me show you something, Shannon. And she went, pow! So I respect it, but I would have liked a little bit more of the water waist exhibition. But our girl looked good. She looked absolutely stunning. So, and then obviously the new girls drop. And obviously people are like, oh, why is the song still playing? And then everyone's kind of like, oh, there's going to be new girls coming. And obviously, I mean, it's kind of obvious. I mean, when you've done it before, you can expect it to happen again. I think some girls are generally confused. And I think Sally knew what was happening because she was like, oh, I knew it, So obviously the new girls drop and we get a closer look at them. I think Kaylin is decent. She seems like a party girl, fun personality. And Julia, she's cute. I think she's Latina. I'm coding Latina from her. And she's cute and she's talking her shit. She's talking about how she's gonna step on somebody's toes. I'm saying talk yo shit, Shadi. Because at this stage of the game, you have to really be about it. Otherwise, you're gonna be sent home, Shadi. But they brought them in together, which I kind of had a problem with. Because I kind of feel like they should have brought one in and then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's a new girl. And then continued playing and then it's like, oh my gosh, there's another one. I think that would have been a better production in my opinion and a bit more drama in my opinion. And then we could have still had that kind of individual heart rate thing because now that they're coming together, how they're going to separate that, Because in the snippet that we saw that's going to happen tonight, they were kind of dancing. I could see two of them going for one guy, and I was like, "Well, how?" I wasn't even thinking about the drama. I was just like, "Well, how are they going to separate that with the heart rate stuff?" But yes, oh my gosh, the faces all around. You know what? Whose faces were killing me was Calvin's face. Calvin's face this whole time. He was just enjoying. He kept like trying to cover his mouth, but then like his mouth was just hanging wide open, like Calvin. Calvin was enjoying the performances. And yeah, it's gonna be funny because it's like they're enjoying it. Obviously, two pretty girls giving them attention, and it looks like they're going for it as well. Because in the UK version, they did it. They dropped a bombshell in the dance challenge, but she was a little bit shy. But these girls look like they're going for it, Shade. So it's like they're doing their due. The boys are clearly enjoying the attention. I mean, two pretty girls. But then it's like, oh my god, my girls are watching. And then the girls are going to have to watch their manses be, have a lap dance from two new girls. And they come in dressed as an angel and the devil. These producers, they are very messy and I'm here for it. So, obviously, in the first look, we're seeing Sally doesn't look like she's happy. And everybody has just got a grin on their face. And I don't know. I feel like maybe it could cause some issues for Sally and Johnny. And I'm not going to lie, I was kind of thinking, well, Julia is Latina. I'm coding here. I mean, is that going to be now? I don't know, because it's like Sally is the only Latina girl in the house. I thought Kirsten was maybe like, a white Latino or mestizo, I think it's called. But turns out she's just like fully white, like English, Anglo-Saxon white. And I was just like, what? I mean, it's crazy. But so I don't know, maybe it's that little thing, you were the only Latina, now there's another Latina in here. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too messy here, but that's what I'm kind of thinking. Maybe there could be a little bit of drama there. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Johnny. To entertain these new girls. But I do think Johnny is going to behave, because he's very aware of his game plan. He can smell the money. So I do think Johnny is going to behave, but I wouldn't put it past him to misbehave. But in terms of who I think the girls would go for, obviously the easy options to go for is obviously Calvin. That would be an easy option to go to. So in terms of who I think the girls will probably be pursuing, the smart choice and the obvious choice to go to would be Calvin. He doesn't really have anyone right now. He just wants to be snapped up by someone. So Calvin would obviously be an easy one to go for. Possibly Bennett. That is a new relationship. Bennett is already talking about how he's interested in getting to know Moira. He's clearly hasn't shut the door on this relationship, as in like he clearly still has a door open to get to know other people. So perhaps Bennett could be an easy option to go to as well. Caleb, I don't think he could be moved. He's pretty secure with Justine. Like I said, possibly Johnny, but I do think he's going to be smart now and be loyal to Sally, I think, for the remainder of this show. Who else is there? That's it, really. Carrington. Oh my god, Carrington. Carrington is definitely going to explore what the new girls are saying. Sorry about it, Laurel. Oh, Laurel. But perhaps maybe that could then push Laurel to Calvin if Carrington does do that. But yeah, that's pretty much the roundup. Do let me know what your thoughts were on my commentary. Let me know what you think about this whole Sally situation. Do you think that they could still make it to the final and perhaps take the crown from Caleb? What do you think of the new girls as individuals? Who do you think they're going to go for? Do you think Johnny will entertain them or not? And yeah, subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you have, don't forget to put that notification bell on so you know when the next podcast is dropping. I'm also trying to get to 1.8 subscribers, so I'd appreciate if you help me out with that goal. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far. Till next time, guys. Bye.